In this video, I'm going to show you that how do you reference the previous row of a table in Power BI. Now, in the previous row, you can have a number, a value, an ID, anything that you want to get from the previous row to the current row. How do you do that in Power BI? And not just one method of that. I'm going to show you 5 methods to do this, and of course, also talk about the pros and cons of every single method. Let's start. Alright, the first method in Power Query is the table index method. Let's just take a look at how this works in Power Query. So I'm working with the simple data. We have date, some platform, topic, content, and who's the owner of that particular piece of content. And I'd like to know that on the previous date, what was the platform on which the content was uploaded. So if on the 2nd of June, we are uploading some content on YouTube, I would like to know that on the previous day, what platform did we upload the content on? So I would want the previous row's value, which is LinkedIn, to appear in the next column, maybe a new column right here, and I would want that platform to show up right here. Now, you could do this for any particular column, but right now I'm just doing it for the platform column. So how do we do that? I'm going to go to the Add Columns tab, and in the Add Columns tab, I'm going to create an index column from 1. That will just give me the counting from 1 through till the end of the row. Well, actually, this should not be from 1. This should actually be from the 0th row, and press enter. Now, you can see that the counting actually starts with 0, and this is going to go all the way up until the last row of the data. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use this particular counting to go and reference the previous row. So here is how this works. So you have this entire table right here. I'm going to say, hey, pick up this entire table. From this entire table, why don't you go pick up what is there in the current row? So current row, you have the value 1. And I'm going to subtract 1 from it. So 1 minus 1 is going to give me 0. And then I'm going to say, hey, why don't you pick up the 0th item of this particular table? So the 0th item of this particular table is this entire record. And from this entire record, I can take out whatever column that I need. In this case, this is going to be the platform column. I'm going to show you how this works. So I'm going to go ahead and create one more column. In that column, I'm going to start to reference the entire table. Now, how do I reference the entire table? The entire table is the added index table right here. So I'm going to say, hey, hash and quotation marks. I'm going to say added index. Now, if I just click on OK at the moment, I'm going to get the entire table. Like this entire table has now been referenced in every single cell. If I just peek into the cell, you're going to see that the entire table is right here, and so on and so forth. Now, from this entire table, I want to reference the current row. That means I'm going to say, hey, here is a table reference. Then I'm going to write the row reference in the curly bracket. So curly bracket start and curly bracket end. And within the curly bracket, I'm going to feed the index column right here. And I'm going to click on OK. Now, this has turned the entire table into a record, and I am referencing the very row right here. Now, I don't really want to reference the very row. I want to reference the previous row. So what I can do is I can go back to the formula and I can say, hey, the index is going to be not the very index, but index minus 1. I'm going to click on OK, and this actually gives me a record. Now, you don't really have a row prior to this, therefore it gives you an error. But here, it actually gives you the previous row. So if you take a look at the current row, here on the left hand side, here we have YouTube, but in the previous row, we have LinkedIn and the 1st of September 2025, and that is nothing but the previous row's data. Excellent. Now, from this record, I just want to extract one column, which is nothing but the platform column. I'm going to go right here to this formula. I'm going to say that, hey, this entire thing is giving me a record. From this record, why don't you extract the platform? And that's about it. Click on OK, and we get the previous platform. Now, there are going to be instances where you get an error because the first row itself doesn't have a previous row. So this needs to be wrapped into a try or an otherwise statement, like an if error in Excel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and write the try at the start of this. So try this particular expression. If this works, nice. If this doesn't work, otherwise just give me a null. And that's about it. I'm going to go ahead and click on OK, and this actually gives you a null value. And this is the table index method through which you can go reference the previous row. The only problem that this method on a large data is ridiculously slow. Alright, let's just take a look at the second method again in Power Query, and what I call is the self-merge method. Now, I learned this particular technique from Matt Allington long while ago. In case you want to take a look at the original article, I'm going to leave a link to that and you can take a look. Nevertheless, here's how this works. It's ridiculously simple. So I'm going to go to the Add Columns tab right here, and I'm going to create a column starting with 0. That's my first column created. And I'm going to create one more column, but starting with 1. Now, if you take a look at this particular setup that we have done, all that I'm going to do is I'm going to do a VLOOKUP between between the same table. So let's just say that here I'm going to say, hey, in this particular table, search one right here. But when you are trying to search, don't search in any other column, but search in this particular column. So if you take a look at on the right hand side, you're going to see that we have the one right here in the first row. So if you try to find one in this particular table, which contains the index one column, you're going to land up in the first row of the data, which is right here. And hence you can pull out that value. How do you do a self merge? It's ridiculously simple. So I'm going to go over to the home tab and I'm going to say that I want to merge the queries. And in the merge block that appears, you are actually going to pick up the same tables on both the sides. So method 2 here, and that's the table name, and method 2 here, that's again the table name. I'm going to say that here is the index column that I'm trying to merge with the index 1 column. So if you were trying to find the 1, you are actually going to find it in the first row of the data, which is the second row of the data right here originally. Now, that's literally about it. I'm going to click on OK. And in the first row, there is no previous row, so it gives you a blank table, which is right here. But in the second row, it actually gives you the table of the first row, which is what we needed. That's the first row of the data. Now, sure enough, you can expand that, and I'm just going to pick up, let's say, the platform only, click on OK, and this is the first platform or the previous platform extracted right here. Now, this method also involves merge. Now, merges are relatively faster as compared to table indexing columns, but on a very, very large table, this is also going to slightly slow down your query. And I also personally don't like to do self merges in the fact table because it just slows down my query. There are other better methods as well, and let's just move on to that. The third method is the list skip method, and MK wrote a blog on that, and it's blazingly fast. Let me show you how that works. In case you want to take a look at MK's blog, I'm also going to leave a link to that. Here is how it works. So if you take a look at this particular column, all that I'm wanting to do is against every single row, let's just say against the second row right here, I would want to get the previous value right here. And then against the third row, I want to get the previous value. Against the fourth row, I want to get the previous value, so on and so forth. So here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to this particular column, and in this particular column, I will just remove the last value right here. Now, once I have removed the last value, the list actually shows up with all of these values in the list, and the last value is not there. So list has actually shortened by one value. Now, if I happen to insert the first value in that list as a null value, then the list is going to show up null right here in the first position, and then everywhere else, it's actually going to show you the list which is starting with the first row, and you would have the previous value referenced. Now, in case you're wondering how do you set it up, I'm going to show you how to actually set it up. The very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start off by extracting the column that we need to refer to the previous row in the form of a list. And how do we do that? I'm going to right click on this particular platform column, and I'll say that drill down. Now, this is where I have extracted only that column in the form of a list, and that's the code for that. Now, let's just start to work in this code. What I'm going to do is I am going to remove the last item of the list. So I will say list.remove last n right here, and I'm going to say that, hey, here is my list source platform, and just remove the last one item off of this. If I close the bracket right now, notice the last row, it is actually going to be gone, and the list is now shorter. On this shortened list, I will add the first item as a pseudo null value, and I'm going to say that, hey, the first value is going to be in the curly brackets a null, null, and I'm going to use the ampersand right here. Now, the problem is, although we have received the list and the first value is none and all of that, but this is not what we want. We want to take this list somehow and place it in the table along with the rest of the column so that it starts to appear in a table format, for which we need to do a bit more work to be able to take this list and combine it with a table. Let's just start to do that work. I'm going to click on the FX right here, and in the FX, I'm going to go ahead and start to write some custom code. Now, you see that we have a table in the first step, which is the source. This is a table, and we have a list in the second step, which is the list that we have extracted. Now, a table cannot be joined with a list, so we need to do some maneuvering of the columns. For that, I'm going to first convert the entire table into multiple lists. So I'm going to go ahead and say that, hey, in the source step, which is nothing but a table, and this is the entire table, I want to convert every single column that I see right here into a list. And to do that, I have a formula, table.toColumns, start the bracket and close the bracket in the end, and this entire table is going to be converted into multiple lists. So this is the first column, which is right here, the date, the second column, which is the platform, so on and so forth. Of course, we have lost the headers right here, but that's all right. We will get there very, very soon. Now, if you take a look, here we have multiple lists and here we have a single list. Now we stand a chance to join these two lists together to make a single table out of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that, hey, here are multiple lists. Why don't you concatenate the platform as well? So which is nothing but my previous step, and press enter, and the platform does get concatenated. But if you take a look, it's kind of absurd. Here you have list as a main list and sub lists, but here you have the entire list spilling in multiple rows right here. This is not what I would want. I would want the extracted list also to be like a list. So I can just wrap that in the curly bracket and the curly bracket right here and press enter, and we have all of that. So this is my existing platform in my original table, and this is the shifted platform which is referring to the previous row. Now it's the time to add the names of the columns as well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to say that, hey, all of these lists, I would want to put it back into a table. So I can say table.from columns, which is the reverse of table.to columns. Table.from columns, here are multiple lists, please pick them up and form a table. If I close the bracket at the moment and press enter, sure enough, we get the desired result. If you take a look at this particular column and the column on the far right, you are referring to the previous row. So if you take a look at the previous row, it was LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is appearing right here against YouTube, which is nothing but the value in the current row, so on and so forth, and this works well. But at the moment, the columns are not there. So we're gonna do some work with the columns as well. So table.from columns function also allows you to create your own custom columns. Now, all of these columns are going to be taken from the source tab because the source had the names of the columns, but we just added one more column, which is the skipped column, and we would want to name that column a bit differently. So I'm going to go ahead and say that, hey, put in a comma right here, and we have the option to declare the names of the columns. And I'm going to say something like this, that the names of the columns are actually going to come from the source tab. So table.column names, and they are going to come from the source tab, but it's not going to be complete because you have one extra column, and that is going to be concatenated with one additional column, which is nothing but the previous platform. And I'm just going to do that, and let's just hope this works just fine. If I just maybe take a look at this particular thing, columns are fine. If I go to the far right, this is nothing but my previous platform. Since this method involves just skipping off one value of the list and putting the tables back together, there is no crazy referencing or merging. This method happens to be way faster. Now, in case you find this method to be a little tricky because we had to write a bit of M code, I do talk about how do you make custom functions and make formulas ridiculously simple for any user to use in my M language course. And there are several such nuanced problems that I talk about in the course. We start with list, we talk about records, we talk about the fundamental first. I give you several practical examples of that. And then we move on to solving more difficult, more nastier problems of data cleaning. If you've enjoyed this video thus far, there are hundreds and hundreds of students who have enrolled into that course, and they have benefited a lot. In case you're interested to take your M language skills to the next level in Power Query, I'd highly recommend that you join the course and benefit from that. The next method is the DAX modeling method, and I truly find it to be incredible in terms of speed. It's quite simple, but the only drawback is that in case your data model is very heavy, it'll slightly add up to the space of that, but it's very performant. I'm going to show you how this works. So if you take a look at the same table, I've loaded that table into Power Query, this time in Power BI. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do two small changes. One is that I'm going to go over to the Add Columns tab. In the Add Columns tab, I will create an index column, which is right here, and I'm going to start to create a column from 0. Then I'm going to duplicate this entire table, right click, and I'll say that I want to duplicate this particular table. And in this table, since I want to only reference the platform column, I'm going to get rid of all the columns that I have in this table. So I will right click on the platform and I'll say remove all the other columns. And again, I will add an index column, but this time I will add the index column from 1. Now again, in case you have seen the previous ways in which we did the self merge, this is very similar to this, just that we will not do a self merge, but we will build a relationship. So in case you take a look at the table number 2, here the first row is actually this particular row, but here the row which is marked as 1, but here if you take a look at the row which is marked as 1, it's the second row. So if I were to try to search this particular row in the table right here, I'm actually going to land up to the first row and not the second row right here. I'm going to go to the Home tab and load this model into Power BI. Now as soon as you load the model is automatically going to form most likely a 1-to-1 relationship. It doesn't matter much, but that's all right. I'm just going to to stick with this particular relationship because all that we're trying to do is get to the previous row. There are no other columns in this particular table. So here, the index column, which is starting with 0, has been linked with the column that is starting with 1. As simple as that. Now, if I just go to my original table, which had all the columns, which is this particular table right here, and if I happen to just write the related function, which is the VLOOKUP, this is going to work just fine. So I'm going to right click and say that I want to make a new column. Now, making a new column is just a way to show you that we can get the previous row, but in case you want to do that over a measure, you can also do that. But I'm just showing you how that works. So I'm going to get to the previous row right here. So previous platform, and I am going to write the related function, and I'm going to go ahead and get the platform from table number 2, close the bracket and press enter. And since the first value is blank, you get all the platforms right here. And this is another way of doing that. Since you're just leveraging relationships here, this is going to be incredibly fast on your model as well. The final method that I want to talk about are visual calculations that give you the by default method to refer to the previous row. The only drawback is that it just takes a look at the visual and the calculations are not done at the model level. It will only restrict itself to what is available to the visual right now here on the screen. So let's just see how this works. So here we have the date, the owner, and the platform, and all that I would want to do is I want to reference the previous row right here to whatever is visible. So whatever is visible in the previous row, just get it. Whatever is visible in the previous row right here, just get it, so on and so forth. How do you do that? Is through a visual calculation. So I'm going to go ahead and write a visual calculation, which is there in the home tab, and new visual calculation. I'm going to do that, and I can write a custom one as well. And now once you do that, it although gives you an option to pick up the calculation from a list, but I'm just going to go ahead and write that. So previous platform, and this is going to be the previous row. Like literally you will write the previous function right here. So previous, and start the bracket. It just asks you, hey, previous. So which column do you need? So I need the platform column. I'm just going to feed that right here. So this is going to be the platform column. I'm going to close the bracket and press enter. And this literally gives you the previous platform. So if you take a look at the results right here against the current row, you are taking a look at the previous row and the previous row and so on and so forth. Just note that in case you apply any particular filter, it is literally going to fetch the visible previous row and not the actual previous row as per your data. So this is more like a visual level calculation and not a data centric or a data model level calculation. But in case this helps you, this is good.